What is going on, traders? And let's talk about filter number 10, how you can add any indicator to this filter that actually acts as a support and resistance. So it's going to be very simple, very easy, and you're gonna really like it a lot because it can give us an advantage of using any indicator out there that acts as a support and resistance. So how does this work? Very simple. We have here, if we make it to true, of course, we want to activate that filter. Right here we have the indicator file name. So right here, this indicator is yesterday's high and yesterday's low. Very important. Is going to use the default settings. That's number one. And number two, you need to type it the same way or exactly how you have it on your indicators file. If you make any mistake on the name, it's not going to take it into account. So you need to name it exactly the same as your indicator file. And here, there are some support and resistance that are act differently on different time frames. So that is really up to you. If it doesn't affect any time frame, then you can just choose the same time frame of entry. Okay, right over here, same time frame of entry. If you're entering on a 5-minute block, and if the support and resistance does not change on any time frame, then you're gonna use the same time frame. If the support and resistance is different on 5 minutes, on 15 minutes, and so on and so forth, then you're gonna choose whatever time frame that you wanna the market to enter. If you're entering on a 5-minute block, but you want to use a 1 hour support and resistance, then you can do that. Okay, so you can change this depending on that type of support and resistance. Now, this is when it's gonna come really tricky. The buy buffers and the sell buffers. Okay, this is always is going to change depending on the indicator. So this is so important, and I'm going to teach you how to look for those buffers. Okay, if you don't know how to do it, there are many videos out there, but I'm going to again to show you how you can look for it. And if the indicator does not have any buffer, then you're not going to be able to use it. Now, this is also very important because it's going to affect the way it's going to enter in the market. Okay, so what does this mean? Is enter when a candle pierced out the S&R. If this is false, so let's just say right now we have the resistance, it's not such a straight line, and then we have the support right here, right? So resistance and support. If this is false, so what is going to do, if the market comes out, the price comes out of it, and we get a block, and if the block happens to be outside of my resistance, then the market is going to enter. Okay, it's going to enter if this is false. Why? Because the block in scope, what we wanted to do is the block, what we wanted to happen outside of my resistance. If by any chance, if I choose this, if the market goes up, goes through my resistance, but the block happens to be inside, my entry block happens to be inside of my resistance back in here, is not going to enter. Okay, if this is false. I hope you understand. So pretty much the entry needs to be outside. If this is false, my entry needs to be outside of my resistance, and my entry needs to happen outside of my support. If that's not the case, then it's not going to enter. Now, if this is true, if I make this to true, then what is going to happen is I have my resistance, I have my support. The market happens to just pierce out, just comes out. Now we have the double any option. If we have an entry outside of my resistance, is going to take it, or if the price happens to be inside of my resistance, is going to take it. But even just by one candle just piercing out, okay, and maybe comes back in here and gives me a buy, a sell entry, then it's going to trigger. Pretty much that is what is going to happen when this is true and when it's false. So is a major difference. I'm going to show you an example right now how this works. So right over here we have an example of using yesterday's high and yesterday's low. How does this work? Well, it's very simple. This one is using the pierce out. Okay, so the market happened to pierce. Well, I have an entry happening on 15 minutes, so let me just go back in here to 15 minutes to show you an entry. The market pierced out, we got a block, so that means we got an entry. Pierced out meaning it just got out of it just a little bit, and it gave me an entry inside of my support. That's an entry. Right over here, the market came out, it gave me an entry over here. And again, in here, the market is outside of my yesterday's high, it gave me an entry, okay? So that's pretty much it. Market comes out, this was a block, gave me an entry right here, and so on and so forth. So now, if I have the difference now, it's very, it only needs, the entry needs to happen outside of my resistance. So in here, if you see, it happens outside of my resistance, it was able to enter. In here, it happened outside of my support, it entered. Of course, the market kept on going lower, so it entered again. So that's example of an averaging. Right here, it entered again and it enters. So I'm just going to show you an example of on the same day. Let me just show right over here. Let me see. Let me just look for one. Like right here, March 22. Okay. So for March 22, right over here, it didn't enter. We have an entry before that it pierced out on March 22nd, and it entered right over here. And on this one, it actually never entered because it happened inside of here, not outside of my support and resistance. So that's the big difference, and I really want you to understand it. Okay, so how does the buy and the sell buffers work? So if I right click in here, we're gonna go to colors, right? On my indicator, we're gonna go to colors, and we're gonna be able to see that we have different colors, and we have 0 to 5 in here. So we have to play with it. So if I change the color in here to yellow, and if I change the color to this one, to blue, now I know that my top color is blue, is yellow. So that means is what? 0. So if the price goes up above here, I know that we want it to sell. So this will be the sell buffer. Okay, just please keep this in mind. So since this is yellow, right? This is yellow right over here, and I want it, this is my resistance. I want to sell when the price comes in here, right? So I want to sell when price gets to here. So since this is yellow, this is 0. So on my sell buffer, I put 0. Now this is blue. Very interesting. So when the price comes down here, what I want to do, this is my support and I want to buy. So this I want to buy in here. This is my buy buffer. This is going to be 1. So when I go here to my EA, to my settings, and I go look for my settings for the EA on this right here. So the buy buffer is 1 and the sell buffer is 0, right? Or maybe it should be the other way around. What do I want it to do? The sell buffer is 0 and my buy buffer is 1. Okay, so 0 to sell and 1 to buy. 0 to sell and 1 to buy. So very simple. 0 to sell and 1 to buy. So it's right here. 0 to sell and 1 to buy. That is pretty much how it's going to work. Since this indicator is the same for every single time frame. It doesn't matter if I change to 1 hour, it doesn't matter if I change to any time frame, because we're looking for yesterday's high and yesterday's low is going to be always going to be the same, pretty much the same thing, right? It does not change. Now we're gonna have here another indicator that we are going to be using, that I changed the settings to it. It's going to be this support and resistance, okay? Now, this one has many sell and buy buffers. This is going to be 1, 2, and 3, meaning that, what is this going to mean? It means that you can use this as the first resistance, this line right here as the first resistance, or could be you can use this one. So if the price comes in here and you use that, just pierced out, and then it comes back in here, then this is the first resistance, right? But if you want to use as this one, if the price pierces out of this line, comes out of this line, then we're gonna use this buffer right over here, which we're going to look for. What is the buffer? We have to find out what type of buffer is it, what number. Or this could be the last buffer for sell entries. If the price comes out of here or here, no, we want it price to come out of this one. Let's just say like this one right over here. It just pierced out, and then it can give me an entry right over here, for example. So we can use 1, 2, 3. We have 3 sell buffers in here, and then the same way at the bottom for buy buffers, right? We have this one or this one or this one, pretty much as resistance. Which resistance do you want to use? That is pretty much the question that you need to ask yourself. Which one do I want to use as a resistance, and which one do I want to use as a support? So now, how do we look for the buffers in here? Well, we have to play around with the indicator, and then also that you need to know that this buffer, this indicator, it is different on every single time frame. If I go to 15 minutes, it's gonna use 15-minute time frame resistance and support, so it's gonna be different. So now you have to realize which time frame do you want to use in order to use to sell or buy. Okay, so again, we're gonna go here to 1 hour. I want to go here to indicators. We're gonna go to the indicator, we're gonna go to edit, and then we're gonna go to colors, and then now we have all the different numbers from 0 to 6. We have pretty much, we have 7 in here, so there's gonna be one that is the middle. I think you see one middle one here that's dotted, so we have 7 different buffers pretty much from 0 to 6. So how are you gonna find out which buffer is it that you need to use? Well, it's very simple. You need to change the colors and see and realize which one is the color that you want to use. So I know that here 5, let's change it to any color that you want, and I want, let's say I want to change it, I want to make it thick. I'm gonna go to here, you see orange. So this orange changed color now, so this is my first buy resistance. My question is, do I want to use this one or do I want to use this one? So if I want to use this one, I have to figure it out which one it is. So I need to go in here and change the color just to kind of figure it out. What is it? Which one is it? So I'm going to change it again to thickness to be able to, okay, so it's this one. Okay, I want to use this one. So what do I do now? I write it down and I say this is number 6, buy buffer. This, I want to use this as my line of support. If the market comes out of here, I want to be able to look for buy entries. Okay, please, I hope you understand this. Now, how do I look for the top one? Well, let me just color it in. I want to use this blue one. I want to change it to thick number just to kind of see which one it is. Oh, okay, so this one is my dark blue. This is my first sell buffer that I can use. So I know that will be number 2. So this is 6 to buy, 2 to sell. If I want to use the top one, all I have to do is color it in and figure it out what is the buffer, if that's the one that I want to use, number 3. Okay, so it changed color, so I want to use purple and this color right here. So what do? I write it down on a piece of paper so you don't forget. So I want to use 6 as a buy buffer and 3 as a sell buffer. So what do? All I have to do is write this down, 6 and 3. Then I go to my EA, right? I have to type in the same exact name of the indicator. So right over here, I already have it on strategy number 2. I have it in here. And then you have to choose your time frame that you want. So buy buffer is 5 and sell buffer is 2. If I want to change it, I want to say number 6 and number 3. This is the higher one, right? So that is pretty much, I have the name of the indicator, and then I have to specify what time frame do I want to use and what is the buy and the sell buffer. So I say okay. So now anytime the price goes out of here, it's gonna trigger a sell entry, and in here is going to trigger a buy entry. If you want to change it up, you can just do that and change it up whenever you want. Or if you want to choose the highest one all the way at the bottom and all the way at the top, again, all you have to do is go to the setting, go to edit, and then now by process of elimination, we can define that 1 and 4, this one more or less should be the sell buffer, the most highest one. So I'll just change it to any color just to be able to identify it. Okay, so here it is. This is the most highest one. So all I do is now I type it up, and then I know now that that's the number 1, right? This is my number 1 if I want to sell. And by process of elimination, more or less, this is gonna be number 4 right over here, right? As this one right over here. I mean, you can just make sure just to see. And boom, right here. So that is all you do, or you go back to the EA and change it up. Very easy. Now we can use another indicator that I want to show you. Again, you have to type in the same exact name, or else it's not going to account it. We have one here that we also have buffers. These buffers are we going to ignore. This is another indicator that I like a lot, and you can use as a support and resistance as well. Okay, so this is going to be a volatility resistance indicator that is going to show me the red zones. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines we have, and then to the bottom will be the buy zones, right? So the further the line, of course, the better it is. I usually use 1, 2, 3, could be starting from the 4th line. If the price reaches to the 4th line, then I can look for selling opportunities, and then vice versa, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, if we have strong trend, then to more or less pretty much reach up to here. So what is this indicator doing is that it's giving us projected volatility of where the market can reach to for the day. The highest, it could be here, and then the lowest could be, of course, somewhere around here. So we can play around with this one. I have it, it's based on ADR, ATR as well. Here we can just go back to days. We're using it based on daily right here. So we can go back. I can just go 1 hour right here, and we can see that 1, 2, 3 reach to the 4th line. It bounced off from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You reach right there and it bounced. So it's something that we can use as also with the indicator that we can just type it up. And how are we gonna use right here? We got the colors, and the lighter the color, the further it is, right? Okay, so this is the lightest green, so it's this one, and then the lightest red is right here. So if I change right here 16 to yellow, I didn't change it. Okay, right here. So this, if I want the price to come down to the yellow zone right here and to trigger an entry, all I have to do is know what number. So this is my buy buffer 16. So if the price reaches up to here, then I would like the EA to buy for me. Now the same thing would be for on the yellow, the red zone. If the price reaches, let's just color it blue, the blue zone, then trigger a sell entry. So I know that we're gonna tell the EA 16 for buy and 8 for selling. So when we go to the EA, we just gonna type in that buffer, and again it's going to use the default settings. We have to type in exactly the same name, and that's pretty much it. So if you have any indicator that is support and resistance that works great, that has a buffer, you can always share it so we can all use it on the EA. So I hope this was understanding. I hope you understand it, and you can always test it out and let me know if you have any questions, if you have any issues. Always sign up into the Telegram and you can ask any questions, like the video, like the subscribe, and I'll see you around.